Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is a 60TP Lewandowskiego. It's a tier 10 Polish heavy tank. It's located on the eastbourne of Paris and it's under the command of Orange's Toxis. Now alongside him is Untouchable Man, and he's also in 60TP, so you have some heavy hitting work going to happen. Well, the 60TP was a design that was put together during the drafting stage by a certain Richard Lewandowskiego, he was actually at the Military Technical Academy in Warsaw, and he was designing a 60-ton tank with heavy armour, and it was going to feature 200mm of armour at the front. This particular tank has 260mm on the front of the turret, so it's particularly strong. It's not so weak on the hull as well. It's 160mm at the front of the tank and 100 at the sides. It's armed with a 152mm gun, or 152.4 actually to be correct, with 750 alpha, and it's capable of reloading normally in 16.7 seconds, but we can see that RNG has managed to get 14.77. Saw a third marked Death Star go through the frame. Well, the enemies got to the bridge before we did. Now, it's one of the things that actually lets this tank down is the fact that it does have a rather long reload time. And in fact, actually, the Death Star's not happy about him being in this spot, because I think he was rather looking to ambush anyone who came past the field of fire. And so what he's now trying to do is get a spot on the bridge, get a shot into any enemy tanks that's coming underneath the bridge, and there's a couple of them, including a chieftain and the enemy 60TP. All took around in the tracks from that's one of the 60TPs, the one that's on the bridge, not under it. But he's side scraping. Can we get a shot? Difficult. He's firing heat. And there he goes. Didn't get that shot in. Now the heat rounds will actually do 317mm a pen, and the armor piercing, the standard armor piercing, will do 250. So big difference between the two. And you can see he's actually changed their position, so he's put the heat rounds on the first spot rather than the second, and the Jaeger just fired his 17cm gun and it was blocked. And you can see the Jaeger actually did hit the front of the vehicle, but it just careened off. I think he's going after the Centurion. Action 10. There you go. Go for the... oh, missed it. It's going for the cupola. But the Death Star, I think, was... no, it wasn't the Death Star, it was Untouchable Man. Got a shot into that Centurion Action 10 and took him out. Okay, what can we see? Well, we can just make out the Chieftain, but unfortunately he hits us in the gun, and that's going to drop our accuracy. But we're not shooting long range, we're only shooting short range at this particular point, so I don't think that's going to bother us too much. But he did use his repair kit straight away to fix that, because he wants accuracy, and this tank is not that accurate. Okay, Chieftain exposes his lower plate. I don't know why he did that. He was tempting him to fire at the lower plate, which is daft, because that is one of the places that he can be penned. Meanwhile, up on top of the bridge, the 60TP exposes himself and goes to an Amarak. And that was a 2,191 hit point kill. He hit the Amarak bang on and made the thing go boom. So a rather explosive one, that one. And yes, the Chieftain hits him, gets 457, but we're aiming, and a nice hit for 706, but it's a low roll. It makes the Chieftain a one-shot. He's having a quick look round to see who's alongside him. Got an IS-4 to our right. He's angling for a shot as well. Don't have to worry about that that 60 TP up on the bridge anymore. It looks like he actually did pop his turret when RNG managed to wipe him out. And now we've got enemy tanks in the square. Can we get shots on them? No, because they're actually back at our cap area. And the Object 907 is trying to side scrape on them using the wreck. And there's the Death Star. He's obviously looking the same way. Everyone's angling to try and get a shot in that direction. Kind of ignoring everyone that's under the bridge at the moment. But it looks like the Death Star suddenly realised that, yeah, we are kind of ignoring the people who are closest to us. So we're trying to side scrape, and that Jaeger is still there. Okay, he just fired, so we can pull out and take a shot. Oh, no he didn't. That wasn't him who fired, it was somebody else. But he just planted the shell into the track, so we've now got a chance to pull out. We can't see him. You can see the Chieftain. Hello, Mr. Chieftain. Goodbye. Nice one. Okay, now the Jaeger is probably going to be loaded by now. And I think he's over in the corner, far corner. So he's looking to get a shot, but he won't get a shot whilst we're in that position. So we're now getting close to the IS-7. Can we get the gun depression? Yes, we can. And he's out the game with an Amarak for 1,837. So he's had 2 tank kills. Amaraks. One for 2,191. The other one for 1,837. He's got 3 kills. And so has Untouchable Man. Untouchable Man's really close to that Jaeger now. The enemy's only 1 tank down. Now, if he cuts across this gap... Oh, he got the Jaeger! Or rather, the IS-4 did. He's managed to get across the gap without being hit in the side. And the enemy is now capping. Now, I wouldn't advise going over the edge of this bridge because that's how people die. But there is a spot where you can go down on the ramp. And that enemy tank has gone. Okay, is he going to go down the ramp? Yes, he is. Now there's only 3 enemy tanks left and 1 in the cap. Our Superconk's getting close. But any second now he's going to be able to shoot the E100 in the rear because he's actually facing the other way. There you go. Oh, and he dies just before we shoot. And now there's only 1 enemy left. It's the E3. And there he is. He's in the cap area and he just killed our Superconk. But here he's about to die. Oh no! You're not doing that! And that's a kill to win the game! Tough luck to the Death Star. You shouldn't have done that. Very bad. Naughty Death Star. Here's the end of battle stats, and that was a first class tank for RNG as Toxis in the 60 TP Lewandowski go. He got a demolition expert twice. Yes, 2 enemy tanks were blown to pieces by his shot. He also managed to get a bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. In fact, he got 6. A duelist for taking down 2 tanks who damaged him. A fighter badge for getting at least 4 kills. Yes, he got 4 exactly. As well as a fire for effect for doing more damage to the hit points of his own vehicle, and a shell proof for blocking more damage to the hit points of his own vehicle. Now his platoon mate actually did survive. Yep, and so that means they both got at least 3 kills, which means they got the Brothers in Arms outfit as well. Let's have a look at the team score and see where they were. Well, the highest damage in the game actually went to the Death Star, the guy who tried to block our shot right at the end so he could steal the kill for himself. He got 6,995 hit points out of the game, and he did pick up a high caliber. He really didn't need that last kill, whereas it would have been nice for RNG as Toxic just to get that last one in and get a few extra credits. The second highest damage was RNG. He managed to get 5,735, and the third highest damage was the 907, who got 5,187. We can see the platoon mate, Untouchable Man, got 993, but he got 3 kills out of 993 hit points, so he did have some opportunistic hits, which actually worked to his advantage. And of course, he did take down that Jaeger as well, which was quite nice, and got the Brothers in Arms. When it came to kills, it was the RNG who got the highest with 4 kills, but he shared it with the TVPT 5051 on the enemy team. They both got 4. And 3 kills went to Untouchable Man in second place, and third place is the Death Star, the Super Conqueror, and the E3 on the enemy team. When it came to base XP, it's RNG He's got top with 1,158. Second place is the Death Star with 1,102. So I suppose we have to say, yes, he's fairly good as a player because he's one of only 2 players who managed to get over 1,000 base in the game. And third place went to the Object 907 with 994, and his platoon mate came in with 780. So he wasn't slouching at all. He was working really hard and taking the shots where he could without actually getting wiped out. RNG managed to get 12 shots off, 7 direct hits on the enemy and 5 penetrations, 5,735 hit points of damage, and all of it was done at closer than 300 meters, close range. 7 hits received, only 1 of which actually penetrated, 6 non-penetrations, and 2,990 hit points of damage altogether. I think the pen shot, if I remember correctly, was in fact from the enemy 60 TP, who did get 1 hit into him. And the 6 non-penetrations, well, variety of tanks hit him in the tracks, including the Agro, and they just failed to pen. He blocked 2,990 hit points during that game, damaged 5 of the enemy, killed 4 of them, and he managed to get 56 defense points when he reset the cap, killing the E3 at the end of the game. On a premium count, he earned 49,948 credits for the game. But after repair, ammunition, resupply and consumables, and yes, he did fire some premium ammo, he was using the heat quite freely, he actually ended up with 20,013 credits loss, but he got 1,158 XP for the battle, 1,737 from personal reserves, 869 for tactical training, 261 for playing in a platoon, and took away 4,604 experience points altogether. So let's have a quick look at the armor of this beast, because it is kind of a beast. You look at all that red there, you're looking at it saying, oh my god, 260 millimeters of armor. Actually, effective armor is coming up to 267, but as you go further up, it actually gets higher and higher. And then you're looking at something like 600 millimeters of armor at these top parts, just getting higher and higher. Oh, look at that. It goes up to 1,086 millimeters of armor, effective armor, further up the turret near the mantlet. So it's incredibly tough, this thing. You're more likely to bounce off the sides of it because the armor is nice and rounded to ensure that shells don't dig in. We've got the driver behind this armor here in the center, and whilst the actual viewports are a weak spot with 220 millimeters, you can see that the effective angling around there actually does make a difference because it pumps the value up a little if you hit it from the sides. The upper plate 160 millimeters coming out at 302 because it's nicely angled. Lower plate 110 coming out at 229, 230 thereabouts. The sides of the vehicle, well, you're looking at 13 centimeters of armor on the sides coming out at 152. If you're shooting from the side, you can possibly shoot into this point here 70 millimeters in this little triangle area, which actually is coming out at 107. At tier 10, you could penetrate that. And of course, the roof of the tank on the turret is 50 millimeters, on the engine deck 50 millimeters. So Arty can hit this thing. If you hit the roof, you can do a fair bit of damage. The rear of the tank, it's 90 millimeters at the rear, but it's fairly slab-sided, and therefore you're only getting an effective armor of 102. If we go to the live model, so you can actually see where the weak spots are, you can see that the center of the driver's hatch area, that is the weak spot. Lower plate is a weak spot. Top of the turret, 50 millimeters. You can just see the top of the roof. If you can get a shell to dig in there, and if you've got a 152 millimeter gun, then you can actually overmatch the roof of that because it's 3 times 150 millimeters. So you're actually coming out effectively at with 150 millimeters of pen, 3 times all. The effective armor here is 113. You've got a cupola there, which of course for the commander, 220 millimeters on that. Yeah, you're going to have difficulty trying to get that because it's fair enough back. And this tank, remember, does have fairly good gun depression. So if you are in a gun depression situation, like if I can get it to come down, there you go, we've got the gun to come down. You're not going to see much of that cupola. It's going to be fairly difficult to get your gun in on that spot. Let's have a quick look at the modules. Well, there you go. Driver's sitting up front, and directly behind him is an ammo rack. There's 2 ammo racks on that weak spot as well. That's the triangle area where the weak spot is on the side of the tank. So if he's angling at you, yes, you can get a shell in to hit his ammo rack. We've got the gunner up front, the tank commander behind him, that's where the cupola is, and we've got the loader on the left-hand side with the ready rack in the bustle of the turret. We've got another ammo rack on the sides of the vehicle. Remember, the sides are fairly weak. You can overcome them, and the engine is sandwiched between 2 fuel tanks with the transmission right at the rear. So only that big deep ammo store in there, but it's shielded, you can see by the tracks. So the chances of you hitting that one are very, very slim indeed. The best place to aim for really is those cheeks or shoulders, you might say, of the hull to actually try and set it off, or to get the rear of the turret and try and get that bustle and set off the ammo rack there. So that's the modules on the 60TP. This is not a solitary replay. We've actually got another one for you from RNG's Toxis, more recent video. This one's from February, and he sent us in another one. So let's go to that one straight away. The second replay is in the E25, the Tier 7 German premium tank destroyer. And we're on the south spawn of Redshire. Game on! Well, this little tank destroyer was supposed to be the replacement for the Hetzer. It's a bit of a cross between a TD and a reconnaissance tank in many ways. It's got a top speed of 65 kilometers an hour, pretty good camo, fairly flat. It's got a 75mm gun which is capable of 135 alpha. It's basically known as the cockroach, with good reason, because people tend to hate it because it fires so well. It's got a very fast reload. The standard reload is 2.88 seconds, but you can see here RNG has got 2.29. Enemy spotted. Okay, let's move forward. Tiger 131 takes a hit in the engine, and another one. Low rolls, and the third. Oh, he fired back and hit us in the tracks. And looks like the VK took a hit as well. Trying to get a shot on that Stug. Looks like we tracked him and got one hit into the M4A1, but he has been spotted, so he needs to fall back. This thing doesn't have much in the way of armour, 50mm at the front, 30 at the sides and rear, so if it does get spotted, it's vulnerable and it can take hits and lose hit points fairly quickly. It's only got 830 hit points, so you have to be careful that you don't lose them all. Got a shot into the AMX 12 ton. Now the 75mm round's got penetration of 115mm, and he's just killed a T67. The premium rounds, the APCR, will actually do 194mm. So most Tier 6 vehicles are very vulnerable. This is a Tier 7 game with Tier 5 tanks in it, so he's middle tier, and because this tank is rather OP, it means he's having to carry the team a little. Gets a shot into the Tiger 131. He's looking this way though, and he did spot us. Now it has excellent mobility, very low profile as I said, incredible camo, and it's got fairly good accuracy and aim time as well on the enemy. Fires another one in, he did get spotted. You saw the return round zip over the top of him from the Tiger 131. Obviously he's got an 88mm, we don't want him to hit us if we can help it. Okay, Stug over there is near the castle. VK's moving up, you might be able to get a shot on him. There's an Eagle 7 over there, and it looks like he's coming in this direction. And there's a Stug by Upsilon B. Oh! Well, we spotted the damage that went on the Stug, and the Stug was killed by our KV-1. Okay, we're swapping sides. We're one up on the enemy at the moment. You see an enemy OI over by the Zeppelin. Gets a hit into him. Now he's pulled back. Now we can hit the T1 heavy. And these shells are just going to straight through the sides of the T1. So you know the sides of a T1 are vulnerable, it's the front that's fairly strong. Okay, we've got a shot on the VK3001H. No, I think that hit the wall of the castle there. A couple of blind shots. You don't get a whole lot of ammunition, you only get 60 rounds, so you have to make the best use of them. You've got 8 degrees of gun depression as well, which means you can get shots on the enemy, but yes, you have to watch out not being spotted. Puts a round into the VKs, a one shot now, and the Eagle 7's popping over the ridgeline, hunts one high roll in, and he's pulling back. Okay, the enemy's pushing on the centre, and we've just lost the Skoda. I think that RNG is actually trying to get back as quickly as he can so he can form a defensive position and shoot any enemies that come over the hill towards the AMX-12 ton and the M10 RBFM. There's that Eagle 7 again. And he's actually assaulting our M10 at the moment. One round in, low roll. That one didn't hit. That did. Into the engine bay, a high roll. Got the BK. One shot into him, a low roll. And gets another hit on the Eagle. Oh, he set light to him. He set light to him, but he didn't kill him. The AMX-12 Tango team got the kill shot. So that was unfortunate. Missed out on a kill there. Only the one kill so far. Okay. As far as we know, the VK3001H is in the castle grounds. The 2801 is somewhere near the centre. There's the VK. Moving to... Oh, you spotted. Move to a position where you can get a hit. Yep, got a second kill. Nicely done. Okay, the VK is definitely a one-shot. But being a casement TD, you don't have much arc. It's only 12 degrees either side, but it's enough. And he takes out the VK3001PH. Sorry, not P, it's an H1. Henschel. Okay, right, well. There's only 3 enemies remaining. We were down at one point, now we're up on the enemy. 4 against 3. Okay. Oh, Cromwell, he saw us, I think. Did he see us? Yes, he did. So we're now sitting behind the rock until we go unspotted, and then we've got to make a decision. Do we try and rush the Cromwell? Our AMX-12 ton is sitting on top of the hill, looking down on us. He's moving to the Cromwell. Okay, I think we have to go in now. We're committed because the MX-12 ton's going in on the Cromwell as well. We've got 3 kills. There's the Super Hellcat, and he's just on the edge of that hill. Dialing in. 1 hit. High roll. Second hit is the high roll as well, but we can't get any more. And the AMX-12 ton has just been ram killed by the Cromwell. And I think the Cromwell is a 2 shots. We get another kill. Oh, we just missed it. Slow down. That's it. Got him. If he tried to ram him, he would have lost a few hit points there. So better off actually to slow down and try and still hit him in the same position. Okay, so where is the Super Hellcat? Only 2 enemy tanks remaining. There's the Super Hellcat. He's the other side of the hill. So we can't really go up on top of the hill. Even with an 8-degree gun depression, we need to get the gun down onto him. And the best way to do that is actually move further east. Oh, he's losing hit points. And that must be the Churchill 7. Oh, the Churchill's got him, which means now there's only 1 enemy tank left. It's the Tiger P, the Porsche Tiger. Now, he was last seen down by the river. So RNG's going to have a quick look down there. He's got 4 kills now. He's also got 20% of the enemy hit pool, which means he might actually have a high caliber. 3,373 hit points. And the enemy's capping. And he's going to take his little E25, the Entwicklung series tank, designed to be easier to build. The replacement tank for the Hetzer. And it looks like he's going down the east side of the map to try and use the foliage and the trees to cover his approach, so he can get shots on the Tiger P without the Tiger P seeing him. Yep, he's using the bushes. The guy's hiding behind the house in the cap. He gets a high roll, another high roll, a third high, well, it's an average roll, that one. The Tiger got stunned by our M44, who's just the other side of the cap in the bushes. Oh, no fear. RNG's showing no fear. He's going straight in on the enemy. He's going to get right close to him. And he's shooting at the M44. So we're going to ream his rear. Look at all those holes. Yep, he's shooting into the rear. One more to kill. Yes! Wins the game. Nicely done. Here's the end of battle stats, and that was the first ace tanker for RNG as Toxis in the E25, and he did it like a champ. He got a fire effect for doing more damage than the hit points to his own vehicle. He got a fighter badge for getting at least 4 kills. He ended up with 5, 1/3 of the enemy team, and 1 short of getting a top gun, as well as a duelist for taking down 2 tanks who damaged him. A bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. In fact, he managed to get 13. At least I think that's 13. Yes, it is. And he also got a high caliber for dealing the most damage in the game, and a Confederate for hitting more of the enemy than anyone else on his team. His winning from that battle was 15,039. Very high indeed. Super Unicum standard and a bit more. Let's have a look at the team score and see where he was. Well, he definitely got the highest damage at 4,400 hit points. The next high scorer was in fact the Tiger P on the enemy team, 1,661, and then it was the Cromwell B with 1,390. When it came to kills, he had the highest number with 5. 4 kills went to the AMX 12-ton, 2 kills went to the KV-1, the Eagle 7, the OI, the Tiger 131, and the BK 2801. And when it came to base XP, he's got that one as well. So he's got the top in all 3 columns. 1,622 went to RNG's Toxis. He was the only player to get over 1,000, because the next highest scorer was the T52, who only got 720, and 635 went to the Skoda T25. He fired 50 rounds in that game, got 37 direct hits and 34 penetrations. It's got decent pen on that 75mm gun. 4,400 hit points in total, of which 2,719 were at more than 300 meters, so a fair bit of damage was done at distance. He also received 3 hits from the enemy, 2 of which penetrated, 1 non-penetration, and he spotted 5 enemy vehicles, damaged 13, killed 5. That's where he got the Confederate. He really did go for it. And there was only 2 enemy tanks he didn't even touch in that game. 795 hit points of damage, I think spotting assist in that one, and 4 defense points when he reset the cap with the Tiger P. I think it was the M44 who got the reset, so he may have been the one who actually got the defender in the end. We'll just have a quick check. No, he didn't get a defender, but he did get 29 defense points, so he did reset the cap at least to stop the capping. Yes, he got 4 defense points. He earned 105,692 credits from the game, and after repair, ammunition, resupply and consumables, and considering he did fire some premium rounds, he still made a profit of 21,826 credits. 2,433 XP, 487 for this being a premium vehicle, took away 2,920 experience points altogether. He says this was E25 farm. Well, he certainly was farming those enemy tanks, but he was doing like a boss. He was using the gun depression, he was using cover, he was zooming all over the map, shooting as many enemy as he could. In fact, I think if he'd given the chance, he probably would have gone for all of the enemy tanks. I think it was only the Arty that he didn't actually hit in that game. I'm just looking down the list here of all the tanks he struck. No, he didn't touch the enemy Arty. So it was the Arty that he didn't get anywhere near in that battle. And if we look at the enemy Arty, it was a Hummel, was one of them. And who else was there in the game? Was it just the Hummel? Yep, it was just the Hummel, and it may have been the S35CA that he didn't hit when it came to doing damage. So it was just those two, and yes, he didn't hit that one. So those are the only two tanks he didn't touch in the entire game. But it's absolutely brilliant to get a Confederate in a tank destroyer, zooming all over the battlefield, shooting just about everyone in sight. So let's have a look at the armor profile for the E25. Here's the armor profile, and we can see in the collision model that we've got 50mm at the upper plate and 50mm on the lower plate, but you've got basically only 70mm on the upper plate and only 90mm on the lower plate. So it's actually easier to penetrate the upper area on this tank than it is on the lower plate. There is a weak spot, this cupola, 30mm on that one, so wouldn't want to shoot anywhere near the mantlet, but you have got the viewport for the driver there, and you could actually hit that. And there's the gunner's periscope as well, and well, that's the tank commander's cupola. Sides of the vehicle, we can see a 30mm only coming out at basically 33. Rear of the vehicle, 30mm coming out 31. Top of the tank is 20mm, so it is vulnerable to Arty. You can hit them. If they're standing still with an Arty, you can hit them. If they're moving, it's a little more difficult because they're kind of very fast, very maneuverable, and difficult to hit. But you can wound them, and if you can stun them long enough, then that will enable some of your other teammates to actually put shells into them. So let's have a look at the live model, because I know some like to see that, to see where the weak spots are. Well, you can see basically the entire vehicle is vulnerable because it doesn't have much in the way of armor. Anywhere you look, it's, yeah, very thin armor indeed. Let's have a look at the modules. Okay, well, it's stuffed full of critical components, critical modules. We can see drivers up front, got that viewport in front of him. We've got an ammo rack to his left, and the gunner's just behind him to his right. Sorry, on the left-hand side of the vehicle is the ammo rack. There's often other ammo racks alongside the driver. Fuel tanks at the back, sandwiching the engine with rear-wheel drive. And we've got the tank commander on the left-hand side of the vehicle. He's also the radio operator, and so that's why he's got the radio right next door to him. Actually, he's got a periscope over there. The cupola is actually not for the tank commander. It's for the, I think that's the entrance hatch for the rest of the crew as a whole, because it's directly above the loader, not the commander. And you can see the little viewport there for the periscope for the gunner who's lining the gun. The gun's slightly off the center line. During the battle, it's I don't think I've mentioned it's got 12 degrees of arc either side of the center line, which is actually better than the Hetzer, which has actually got a slightly less arc because it's the gun is mounted on one side of the vehicle over the center line, which means the gun can turn easily to the right, but it can't turn so easily to the left. And it's not the same with the E25. They actually fought through this thing and therefore put it 12 degrees either side. It's still very little in terms of arc, but it's better than the Hetzer in many ways, having an even amount either side. So there you are, that's where all the modules are. If I'm aiming for this vehicle, I try and aim for the right hand side to get the ammo racks that are actually on the right side of the vehicle. Other than that, I try and aim low on the left hand side to get the ammo rack, which is just underneath the gun. You might hit the gun, but you've got a better chance, I suppose, the most of actually getting around through, because remember the upper plate is fairly thin, the lower plate is slightly thicker, but you've probably got more chance of actually getting an ammo rack from there than trying to aim for this one. unless of course it happens to be side onto you, as you can see there. So that's where the modules are on the E25. So I hope you enjoyed those replays. If you did, please give the video a like, do subscribe to our channel, leave a little comment down below because it feeds the algorithm. And congratulations to Orange's Toxis for getting his first ace tanker in the E25 in such an effective way. Well done. Thanks for watching.